Instead of living on less, learn what it takes to earn much more. Much more. What you have to do to be successful and wealthy and rich is completely different than what you need to do to just be comfortable. It's not that your goals are too high and you miss them. It's that your goals are too low and you hit them. It's simple. Rich people do what broke people only think about.
Harv Ekър went from zero to millionaire in only 2.5 years and has now taught over 500,000 people his powerful principles for financial success. Stay tuned and learn his secrets of the millionaire mind. Here's Harv Ekъr.
So, how many of you would like to have a lot more money in your lives? Yeah. Excellent. And how many of you would like to have a lot more happiness in your lives? Yeah. Thank you. And how many of you would like to have a lot more of both in your lives? Yeah. Excellent. You've come to the right place. Why? Because today you are finally going to get to the root cause of financial success. You know, I wish I would have had this information when I first started out. Instead, I spent almost 15 years struggling financially. But by applying the exact same secrets of the millionaire mind that you're about to learn here, I became very wealthy, and now you can do that too. The secret is in something called your money blueprint. And in the next hour, I'm going to show you how to identify your own money blueprint and reset it for wealth, freedom, and financial security for the rest of your life. Now, let me define money blueprint for you. It's simply the way you think, feel, and act about money. And this applies to everyone, whether you're a plumber, or a doctor, a CEO, or you're retired. Again, it's how you think about money. And it doesn't matter whether you have a lot of education or very little. Now, I know this sounds way too good to be true, but I promise you, if you stay with me, you will know without a doubt in every cell of your body that it is your money blueprint that is the real root cause of financial success, mediocrity, or failure. And you will also understand how your money blueprint determines your feelings around money, including your fears, your worries, and even possible feelings of guilt. It is the same blueprint that creates your habits and determines whether you're a saver or a spender, a good money manager or a poor money manager, and whether you end up living on a meager fixed income or you retire rich. In short, your money blueprint determines your financial life. And by the end of this program, you will know exactly why you might not be reaching your full financial potential and exactly what to do about it. So, let's learn about the psychology of wealth. It's very important to realize that we live in a world of duality. What's the word, please? Duality. Thank you. Duality. Give me some examples. Up and down, right and left, light and dark, short and tall, rich and poor, male, female, black and white, perfect. Take right and left. Is it possible to have a right side without a left side? Right of what? You see, it's a comparison. So just as there are outer laws to money, therefore there must be what? Inner laws. You know what? The fact is, most people do not reach their full potential. Most people are not successful. 80% of us will never be financially free in the way we would like to be free, and 80% of us will never claim to be truly, truly happy. And there's a reason. Would you like to know what it is? Yes. The reason is simple. Most people are slightly unconscious. They live only on a very superficial level of life, only based in the visible world, only based in what they can see. So as you can see, we have a tree, and this is called the tree of life. And on this tree grows what? Fruits. In real life, our fruits are called our results. So we take a look at our fruits or results, and we don't like them. They don't taste good. There's not enough of them. They're too small. What do we tend to do? Don't we tend to focus more and more of our energy on those fruits, on the results? Yes or yes? Yes. Well, let me ask you a question. What is it that caused those particular fruits? It's what? It's those roots that cause those fruits. It's what's under the ground that creates what's above the ground. It's what's invisible that creates what's visible. In nature, is that sometimes or all the time? All the time. How many of you would agree that human beings are nature? So with us, is that sometimes or all the time?
All the time.
Excellent. Meaning if you want to change the fruits, where are you going to have to put your attention? On the roots. Thank you. Now, one of the most important things I believe you can ever understand is that we don't live in only one realm alone. We live in at least 4 different worlds at once. Help me out here, please. We live in the mental world. What's the word, please?
Mental.
Excellent. We live in the emotional world. We live in the spiritual. And absolutely, we live in the what? Physical, material world. And what most people never understand or get, or if they do get it, they don't use it, is that your physical, material world is nothing more than a printout. What's the word, please? Printout. Excellent. A printout of the other 3 areas. These are the fruits, but these are the roots that cause those fruits. This is what's visible, but this is what's invisible that causes what's visible. Here's another way of saying it. Nothing happens here before it first happens here. How many understand what I'm talking about? Excellent. So the fact is that money, real stuff, yes? Yes. Money is a result. Wealth is a result. Health is a result. Illness is a result. Your weight is a what? So we live in a world of cause and effect. So it boils down to this, that the only way to permanently, what's the word, please? Permanently change your outer world is to first change your inner world. So let's give that some energy by doing a declaration together. Now, what's a declaration? It's a statement that you make out loud, thank you. Why do we do this? Because every statement has its own energy, either positive or negative. And what you put out is what you get back. Again, we live in a world of cause and effect. And when we put out positive statements, we attract positive results. Now, these declarations will make a powerful shift in your life. And now, I realize that a lot of you might be thinking, oh my gosh, is this ever hokey? But the way I figure it is I'd rather be really hokey and really rich than really cool and really broke. How about you? Yeah. All right, so you want to do the declaration? Yeah. All right, repeat after me. My inner world creates my outer world.
My inner world creates my outer world.
Excellent. I want to share with you something called the process of manifestation, or how we create our results. Your thoughts lead to your feelings, which lead to your actions, and all of that leads to your results. You say that with me, please? Your thoughts lead to feelings, lead to. Now, each of us has a personal money and success blueprint already ingrained in our subconscious mind. And my friends, it is this blueprint, more than anything and everything else combined, that will determine your financial life. What that means is you can be the best business person, the best negotiator, you can be the best marketer, the best salesperson, you can be the best communicator, you can be the best manager, you can be the best at your job. You can know everything about real estate, you can know everything about stocks and bonds and other kinds of investments. You can have years of financial experience, you can already be retired or close to it. But if your subconscious money blueprint isn't preset for a high level of success, you will never, what's the word, please? Never. You will never amass a large amount of money, and if by chance you do, you will somehow manage to lose it. Can I give you an example? Raise your hand if you've heard of somebody by the name of Donald Trump. Multi-billionaire. He loses everything and more. 2 years later, he's got it all back again and more. Why? Because his money blueprint is preset for high. On the other side of the coin, we have lottery winners. We've all heard the stories, yes? They win $5, $10, $50, $100 million. 5 years later, virtually half of them are right back to where they started. Why? Their money blueprint is set for low. And this is why often older people end up losing their money or being broke. Here's a story that just blew my mind. I had a widow come up to me in my seminar, and she and her husband had saved all their lives for retirement, and they did fairly well. But almost the minute that her husband passed away, things started to go downhill quickly. Their investments started to falter, his company pension plan had dried up, and the medical bills all came due at once. Within 60 days, she was virtually broke. what I discovered is that she grew up dirt poor, and she watched her parents age in poverty. And with a few more questions, I realized that her husband's money blueprint was set for decent success. But her money blueprint was set for dead broke, which is exactly what was happening. Thank goodness we were able to reset her blueprint and move her into a brand new direction. The good news is you can actually change your money blueprint. By the way, you've already started by acknowledging you have a money blueprint and by making the declarations you're learning today. Just so you know, money isn't the only blueprint that you've got. You've also got a relationship blueprint, a health blueprint, and even a happiness blueprint already ingrained in your subconscious mind. So, let's talk about how your blueprint is formed. The blueprint is formed primarily based on the programming you received in the past, especially as a young child. Help me out here. Who are some of the primary sources of this information? Parents, good. Who else? Authority figures, siblings. Who else?
Teachers.
Yes, teachers, religious leaders, media, culture, friends. Thank you. Take culture. Isn't it true that certain cultures have a certain way of thinking and dealing with money? Yes?
Yes.
And that other cultures have a completely different way of thinking and dealing with money? Yes?
Yes.
And let me ask you a question. Does the child come out of the womb doing money that way, or were they taught how to do money? Thank you. The fact is, we were all taught how to do money. And the issue is that most of us were taught by people who either didn't have a lot of money or they had a lot of emotional issues around it. And their ways of thinking became our ways of thinking. All right, let's talk about how we're conditioned. 3 primary methods of conditioning. There's verbal programming, there's modeling, and there's specific incidents. Verbal programming. That's all about what did you hear when you were young? What messages did you get? Modeling. That's all about what did you see when you were young? And specific incidents. What did you experience when you were young around money, success, wealth, and rich people? Let's start with verbal programming. What were the phrases or messages that you heard about money and success and rich people when you were growing up? Raise your hand and let me know if you heard this one. Money is the root of all evil. Excellent. We got one there. Rich people are greedy. You have to work hard to make money. That's a really popular one. You can't be rich and spiritual. Excellent. Money doesn't buy happiness. Money doesn't bring love. How about this one? Money doesn't grow on trees. And I suppose nobody but me ever heard this one. We can't afford it. Excellent. Want to hear my father's favorite? Anytime I asked him for anything, he'd snarl at me and go, "Hey, what am I, making money?" I used to joke around with him. I say, "I wish. I'll take an arm, a leg. I'll take a baby finger, Dad." He never laughed once. Anyway, in addition to the generic messages that we heard, we also heard about stereotype messages. For example, if you're a man, maybe the message that you somehow got was that your job in life is to be a provider. And if you're not financially successful, you're not a real man. Now, whether you became financially successful or not, how has it felt to have that pressure on you? What have you missed out of in your life? Your family, your fun, your inner peace, because of the stress of what you were conditioned to believe about putting bread on the table. And yet, this is simply a blueprint you've been running. With the lessons you're learning in this program, it can change. In my experience, when you've got money handled, it positively affects every other part of your life. How many of you would agree? Now, excellent. So maybe the message you got was, you don't need a lot of money because when you retire, the government is going to take care of you. You know what? Let me say this. Maybe that made some sense in the past, but as most of us know, the government is almost bankrupt, and I suspect that it won't be long before the Social Security bin is bankrupt too. Then what are you going to do? Newsflash, trusting your financial life to someone else is not a strategy for wealth. So, here's a wealth step that will help you change your money blueprint. Are you ready? First, it's important for you to know that all change begins with awareness. Very difficult to change something unless you know that it exists. I want you to take a piece of paper, and I want you to create a T-chart. Let me show you what that's going to look like. A T-chart looks like this. And I'm going to ask you to write down on this side all of the non-supportive statements you heard or the messages you got about wealth and money and rich people when you were young. All the ones that are non-supportive, I want you to write on this side. Yes? Yes. And then for each one of those, I want you to write a much more empowering point of view. Now, I'm not saying that this is your point of view today. It may or may not be. But objectively, a much more empowering point of view. Let's see if we have some examples over here. Here's a good example. Rich people are what? Greedy. And we can change that to rich people are generous. Here's another one. It takes money to make money. Let's change that to it takes creativity to make money. By the way, just so you know, talk about creativity, people go, that's not true. It takes money to make money. Really? How many hundreds? No. Let's make that thousands. No. Let's make that tens of thousands of people have come to this wonderful country, immigrants. They came with nothing. And in a few years, they're fairly rich. Yes or yes? Yes. They didn't have money. They didn't have anything. It takes what? Creativity to make money. And the next one goes, I'm too old to make a change. And we can change that to, I'm never too old to learn. Now, after you do this, what I want you to do is I want you to read the positive statements out loud 3 times each every single day. For how long? Until you're rich. Again, words have power. Words have what? Power. And these declarations will eventually become saturated into the neurological pathways of your mind. And all of a sudden, you will find yourself making new decisions, and with new choices come new results. All right, well, let's talk about modeling. Question. What were your parents or guardians like in the arena of money when you were growing up? Did one or both of them manage money well, or did they mismanage money? Were they spenders, or were they savers? Were they shrewd investors, or were they non-investors? Let me ask you this. Did money come fairly easily in your household, or was it always a struggle? Let me ask you this one. Was money a source of joy in your home too, or was it a source of bitter arguments? Why are we talking about this? Why is it important? Well, how many of you ever heard the saying, monkey see, monkey do? And of course, humans aren't far behind. So generally, we will tend to be exactly like one or a combination of both of our parents in the arena of money, unless we go exactly the opposite. Now, why would someone go the opposite? Anger. That's right. Well, it depends on how angry you were at them. By the way, if you're a baby boomer or a senior, one of the simplest reasons you may not be reaching your full financial potential is that your parents or even yourself went through the Great Depression. In which case, because there was never enough, you might be a saver or even a hoarder and overly cautious, meaning you probably don't take advantage of excellent opportunities when they come your way. Or you could have gone the opposite route and became a spender. Why? Because maybe the attitude was, hey, it's going to go anyways, we might as well blow it and have a good time. Of course, neither of these money blueprints work. And this modeling could actually be the main reason you've never reached your full financial potential. Next, let's talk about specific incidents and how a single experience can determine your entire financial life. This next story comes from another seminar attendee. She told me the story that when she was 8 years old, she would hear the clanging of the ice cream truck coming down to the street. She would run to her mom and ask her mom for a quarter. And her mom would say, sorry dear, I don't have any money. Go ask Dad. Dad's got all the money. She'd run over to Dad. She'd go get her quarter. She'd go to get her ice cream. She was a happy camper. Next week, she'd hear the clanging of the ice cream truck come down the street. She would run to her mom and ask her mom for a quarter, and her mom would say, help me out here now. Sorry, dear, I don't have any what? Money. Go ask your dad. Dad's got all the money. She'd run on over to Dad. She'd go get her quarter. She'd go get her ice cream. She was a happy camper. Question, what did she learn about money? First, that men have all the money. So when she first got married, what do you think she expected of her husband? Yeah, it wasn't quarters anymore. Somehow she graduated, all right? What's the second thing she learned? That women what? Women don't have money. Mom, the deity, the model, didn't have any money. Therefore, the way for a good woman to be is not to have any money. And to validate that way of being, she had to do what? Get rid of any money that she had. And money, of course, was the only thing that she and her husband ever fought about. And it almost cost them their marriage. Thank goodness they used our program and completely reconditioned each of their own money blueprints. And more importantly, they learned how to create a third blueprint that worked for the relationship. And they've never had another financial disagreement since. So here's the big question. What is your current money blueprint set for? Well, how can you tell? Simple. Look at your results. Look at the fruits. That will tell you what the roots are set for. Look at the house. That will tell you what the blueprint looked like. Let me put it this way. If the temperature in the room is set for 72 degrees, chances are the thermostat is set for how much, guys? 72. Now here's where it gets interesting. Is it possible, because it's really cold outside and the windows are open, that the temperature in that room could, say, go down to 65 degrees? Yes, but what will eventually happen? That thermostat will kick in and drive that temperature right back to 72. Yes or yes? Yes. Now, is it possible, because it's very hot outside and the windows are open, that the temperature in that room could, say, get to 77 degrees? Yes, but what will eventually happen? The thermostat will kick in and drive that temperature right back to 72. Meaning that the only way to permanently, what's the word, please? Permanently change the temperature in that room is to change that what? Thermostat. And the only way to permanently change your financial life is to change your financial thermostat, otherwise known as your money blueprint. Now, when we come back, I will show you how wealthy people think very differently than most others and how to adopt those ways for you to reach your full financial potential. So stay with me. We call the process of manifestation. Do you remember? Your thoughts lead to your feelings, which lead to your actions, which lead to your results. Meaning, again, it all begins with the way you think. So what we're going to do is we're going to examine some of the ways that rich and successful people think very differently than unsuccessful people, in order to consider adopting those ways of thinking and resetting our financial blueprints. Now, we're going to call these ways of thinking wealth secrets. Good or good? Good. All right, let's begin. Rich and successful people believe, I create my life. And unsuccessful people believe, life happens to me. If you want to create real success, it is imperative that you believe that you are at the steering wheel of your life. You have to believe that you are the one who creates your success, you are the one who creates your mediocrity, and you are the one creating any financial struggle. But instead of taking full responsibility for their lives, most people instead, they play the role of the victim. What's it say, please? Victim. Now, victims usually leave 3 indelible clues. So the first one they seem to have in common is they often do a lot of this. What's the word, please? Blame things. They blame the economy. They blame their type of business. They blame the stock market. They blame the real estate market. They blame the city they live in. They blame the taxes or the government or their employee or their employer. They blame their manager. They blame their partner. They blame their upline. They blame their downline. They blame their husband. They blame their wives, their boyfriend, their girlfriend. It's always something else. It's always someone else. And everyone wants to blame their parents for something. Or they do this. What's the word, please? Justify. Thank you. They justify their situation by saying something like, well, you know, money's not all that important. Well, let me ask you a question. If you said that your husband or your wife or your boyfriend or your girlfriend wasn't that important, would they be around for very long? I don't think so, and neither would what? Money. If you didn't think having an RV was important, would you buy one? Would you have one? Of course not. If you didn't think having a pet parrot was important, would you buy one? Would you have one? Of course not. If you don't think money's important, would you have any? Of course not. You know what? You can actually dazzle your friends with this information. Next time one of your friends comes up to you and says something like that money's not important, here's what I want you to do. I want you to put your hand on your forehead, look up to the heavens, and go, "You're broke." And they're going to go, "How did you know?" And you're going to go, "What else do you want to know? That'll be $50, please. You have a whole new business." Of course they're broke. Let me say this right now. Anybody who says money's not important doesn't have any. And of course there's going to be people who go, "Well, it's not as important as love." What's the comparison? You know, what's more important, your arm or your leg? Maybe they're both important in what they do, yes or yes? Yes. All right. Now, here's the next one. The third one is this. What's it say, please? Complain. Excellent. Complain. Let me say this right now. Complaining is the absolute worst possible thing you could do for your health or your wealth. The worst. Why? There's a universal principle that says, what you focus on expands. Would you please repeat that with me? What you focus on expands. Hey, good job. Now, when you are complaining, tell me, what are you focusing on? What's right with your life or what's wrong with your life? You're focusing on what's wrong with your life. And since what you focus on expands, now what are you going to get more of? What's right with your life or what's wrong with your life? You're going to get more of what's wrong with your life. When you are complaining, you turn into this big, giant garbage magnet. And have you ever noticed that complainers usually have a crummy life? Yes? And they go, "Well, of course I complain. Look how crummy my life is." And now you know better, so you can say, "No, it's because you complain that your life is so crummy. Shut up and don't stand near me." So here are some wealth steps that will change your blueprint and change your life. First of all, no complaining for 7 full days. Not in here and not out here. Now, by the way, it has to be 7 full days. Why? Because you still might have some residual garbage coming to you from before. Because garbage doesn't travel at the speed of light, you know. It travels at the speed of garbage, and it's really, really slow. Okay, yes? Now, here's what you have to understand. It's your choice. Say, "It's my choice."
It's my choice.
You can be a victim or you can be rich, but you cannot be both. So you choose. Because every single time that you blame or you justify or you complain, you are slitting not only your financial throat, but your happiness and your health throat as well. Let me give you another wealth step along with this one. This is very simple. Start taking full responsibility for everything that is happening in your life, especially when it comes to your money. Good or good? Good. All right. Let's do a declaration together. Are you ready? Yes. Okay, here it goes. It says this. I am creating the exact level of my financial success. Let me hear you.
I am creating the exact level of my financial success.
Excellent. Next, we're going to do an exercise. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to think of your financial goals in terms of 2 things. The first one is in terms of, let's say, income. What's the word, please? Income. Income. And the second one is in terms of your net worth. So take a moment just to think about this, everyone. And I'm going to give you a couple examples. Let's say that one of your financial goals for income is that, you know, you want to earn, say, $100,000 a year. Not good or not bad, just say $100,000 a year. That's an example, yes? Yes. And let's say your goal for net worth might be $1 million. Is that possible? Yes. All right, good. Now, here's another wealth secret. Rich and successful people, they play the money game to win. Most other people play not to lose. Here's the thing. Most people actually play the money game on defense versus offense. In sports, let me ask you a question. Anytime you play any game strictly on defense, tell me, what are your chances of actually winning that game? Very slim and very none. And most people's primary concern is survival and security. So what is your goal? What is your true objective? What is your intention? Wealthy people's intention is to create abundance. Most broke people, their intention is to have enough to pay the bills or just get by, or I just want to earn a decent living. And you know what? due to the power of intention, that's exactly what you're going to get and not a dime more. Does that make sense? Yes. This is why I have a very, very deep concern with older people setting the intention that they're going to live on a government or company pension. Let me say this right now. Settling for that is usually what I call a result of the scrimp and save blueprint. You know what? To me, it's a shame. We have millions of fairly healthy, incredibly intelligent older people in this country who basically have traded their dreams for security. And here's the thing. Their entire lives revolve around their budget. I don't mean to judge, but as far as I'm concerned, that stinks. What a way to live, where your budget runs you. Does anybody know what I'm talking about here? Yes. You know what? Let me say this right now. This is all a fear-based blueprint coming up. Yes or yes? Yes. Yet the fact is that we have had dozens, if not hundreds of seniors create more wealth in only 2 years than they have in their last 50 years. It's all about your intention. It's all about how you think. Yes? Yes. All right. Let's take a look at middle-class people. What's their big intention? Well, their big intention also happens to be their favorite word in the whole wide world, because they just want to be, let's see, what's the word, please? Comfortable. So there's comfortable, and you know what? It's so important to them, we're actually going to write it 2 times. All right. So there's comfortable, and then there's this word. What's this word? Rich. And we all know that if we go for comfortable, that we're eventually going to get rich, right? No. I don't think so. Let me say this right now. Comfortable does not lead to rich. Let me say this in another way. Comfortable is the kiss of death to success. What you have to do to be successful and wealthy and rich is completely different than what you need to do to just be comfortable. Raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about here. All right, now, so we all know that comfortable does not lead to rich. On the other hand, if you go for rich, hey, you're probably going to end up mighty comfortable. There's a saying that we have that if you shoot for the stars, you're at least going to hit the moon. Most people don't even shoot for the ceiling in their house, and they wonder what the problem is. The problem for most people is this. It's not that your goals are too high and you miss them. It's that your goals are too low and you hit them. Now, I'm going to do something that's a little shocking. Are you ready? Yes. All right, here we go. I want you to take these numbers here, your income and your net worth. Let's go back to our financial goals. And I want you to rewrite them, but now I want you to add a 0 to each. So this one over here would be, how much would this one be? $10 million, okay? And your income here would be how much? $1 million a year. Now, when you take a look at those goals, for example, how does that feel? What thoughts are going around in your head? How many of you might feel a little bit uncomfortable? Might it be a little bit scary? A little unrealistic? $1 million a year? $10 million net worth? Who needs it? I don't want to kill myself. Why would I want to try for that? I wouldn't have time for anything else. I'm too old. I don't know how to do that. I'd be taking away from others. Let me say this right now. Whatever you said in your mind when you looked at those 2 new goals is your money blueprint staring you right in the face. And that's the only thing that is holding you back from those bigger numbers. Yes or yes? Yes. So here's your blueprint changing wealth step. Set a goal for 10 times the income and wealth you have now. And by setting a goal for 10 times the income or wealth you have now, you're actually committing to helping 10 times the number of people that you are helping now. And this will not only give you a lot more money, but will also give you new meaning to your life. So ready for the next declaration? Yes. Are you? Yes. All right, here it is. I recommit to wealth and helping thousands of people along the way. Let's go. I recommit to wealth and helping thousands of people along the way. Now, we've been talking a lot about money and wealth, but the truth is, a lot of people never grew up with the desire to be rich. Or at one point they did have the desire for financial success, but then they somehow lost their drive. You know? Yes?
Yes.
All right. Now, I've been called a financial evangelist, and I'm going to take that as a compliment. Why? Because I believe in getting rich, really rich. Let me explain why, and let's see if this makes any sense to you. All right. So, why get rich? In addition to solving problems for people, there's, number one here, is lifestyle. What's the word, please?
Lifestyle.
There's no question you can live a much nicer lifestyle when you're rich versus when you're broke or just comfortable. At least you get to eat what you really want when you go out for dinner. Can anyone relate to this? You know, in the old days when I was struggling, I used to look only at the right-hand side of the menu when I was in the restaurant. You know, what do you want to eat? Well, I'll have, okay, 38, 34, 32, 19, 17, I'm not that hungry. Okay, 15, 14, 12, 10.95. Okay, I'll have that. What is it? Oh, it's the chicken again. Okay. I believe that life is far too short not to eat whatever you like. Raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about here. Okay, good. Being rich gives you the ability to live in a beautiful home, drive a great car, and send your kids to the best schools and travel the world with people that you care about. First class, I might add. Again, it's not necessarily just for you. Let me say this. Probably one of the most gratifying things I ever did was I took my entire family and both sets of grandparents on a great cruise to Alaska. And to be able to have everyone together, especially since all four grandparents were in their 80s, was a true blessing. And each of them came up to me at different times during the trip, literally crying with joy and thanking me for doing this for them while they could still enjoy it and be with the grandkids. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Right. Raise your hand if you would love to be able to do things for people that you care about. Excellent. Good. So you get rich, not just for your lifestyle, but for those that you love. I'm not saying if you don't have a lot of money you can't be happy. You sure can. But the way I figure it is you have one life. And why not honor? What's the word, please?
Honor.
One more time, please.
Honor.
Is this a big word? Honor yourself. Honor yourself and those you love with the best life has to offer. The second reason to get rich is because having a lot of money is almost going to be a necessity, especially if you're going to be around for a while, and according to statistics, you will. Medical technology and the latest in wellness practices are increasing our lifespan by years and even decades, and we're just at the beginning of this trend. The fact is, there could easily be a pill that comes out that increases your longevity by 10 or 20 healthy years. What are you going to do if you're out of money? I'm sorry. I said it before and I'll say it again. I do not like the idea of just getting by or just having enough to make ends meet. And I do not like the idea of having to count on someone else, like the government or a company pension, to take care of you. If your mindset is telling you that this is security, let me say this. We need to do some drastic work on your blueprint, because to me, this way of thinking is actually the riskiest of all. Raise your hand if you would agree with me. So, again, instead of living on less, learn what it takes to earn much more, by way of active income, by way of passive income, and by way of investment income. It's a shift in your mentality. What do most people do? Tell me. What do? They think about, how can I live on less? Yes?
Yes.
Instead of putting that energy on, how can I earn 10 times more? They're completely different ways of thinking, and they come from completely different blueprints. Which one gets rich? The one who's thinking about more. Yes or yes?
Yes.
And it's just a little switch up here. True? True. All right, good. But here's the thing. You won't even try until you reset your money blueprint, which is exactly what we're doing right here, right now. The next reason to get rich is contribution. I believe this, that if you have the wherewithal to get really rich, it is your obligation, it is your dharma to do so. Why? So that you can help the people who just do not and will never have that wherewithal. The next reason to be rich is for who you have to become in character, in mindset, in habit, to be successful enough in any arena as to create wealth from it. Who you become in the process of what you achieve is actually more important than just that which you achieve. So it's time for another wealth step. So first, set your intention to donate at least $100,000 a year to people and organizations you believe in and that are in need. This will not only allow you to contribute to others, but will give you the perfect reason to get rich. Next, stop ordering chicken. Steak and lobster are very good, okay? Are you ready to do another declaration? Yes. Here we go. I have a higher purpose for creating wealth. Let me hear you now.
I have a higher purpose for creating wealth.
Excellent. Now, when we come back, we will learn more secrets of how the wealthy really think, and I will show you how to put it all together to really achieve your dreams of wealth, happiness, and success. So stay tuned. Now, let's go to another wealth secret. Here's a big one. Rich and successful people admire and model other rich and successful people. And what do most other people do? They resent the heck out of them, don't they? Most people look at other people's success with resentment or jealousy or envy, or they sniff, "They're so lucky," or they whisper underneath their breath, "Those rich jerks," right? You have to realize something so simple, that if you view rich people as bad in any way, shape, or form, and you want to be a good person, then you can never be what? Rich. All right, let's go to the next wealth secret. Rich and successful people think both. Most unsuccessful people think either or. Now, as in, I'm either rich or I'm generous. I'm rich or I'm kind. I'm rich or I'm loving. I'm rich or I'm spiritual. I'm rich or I have my health. I'm rich or I have time for my family. I'm rich or I have balance in my life. All these either-ors are based in what? Scarcity, limitation, and fear. And the answer to each one of them is both. Life is the easiest game on earth. Ready? Who's the player? You are. Who's the referee? You are. Who's the timer? You are. Who's the judge? You are. Who's the jury? You are. How could you possibly lose this game? It's your story. It's your book. You write the script, every word of it, by the thoughts you think and the actions you take or you don't take. And the best part of this game is that it starts again every day. You see, you're the one who holds the marker. You hold the pen. You hold the tool that creates your life. And every morning, you decide what you're going to create today. You start with a blank canvas. A blank what? Canvas. And you write what your life is going to be today. And the only reason we keep on drawing the same thing over and over again is because we forget that we have the choice to begin again every single day. It's your life. You have the right and you have the power to design it any way you choose. You can choose to commit to financial success and as well set aside time for friends and family and maintaining your health and your spiritual beliefs. You just choose it, and then you organize your life in that way. This is not beyond you. You can do this. There is no one stopping you. True or true? True. So here are more powerful wealth steps that will dramatically change your money blueprint. First, commit to crafting your life the way you want it. Set an intention for how you want your life to look and feel in every area. Make them money, business, family, friends, fitness, and fun. Then, design a time management strategy that will allow you to balance all, what's the word please? All of these things. Not one of them, not some of them, but all of them. Are they all important?
Yes.
Are they all important?
Yes.
Then you want to manage all. You want to put all of them in your life. Remember, it's about both, not either or. Remember, who holds the marker? Say, I do.
I do.
You hold the marker. Next, practice thinking in terms of both whenever alternatives are presented to you. So whenever alternatives are presented to you, what's the answer for everything is what? Both. So where do you want to go tonight? Do you want to go for dinner or to a movie?
Both.
All right, good, very good. So, are you ready for your next declaration?
Yes.
Here it is. This is very important, because if you can really get this one down, I think it's going to solidify the fact that it's okay to be rich. Ready?
Yes.
I can be kind, loving, and balanced, and really, really rich. Let me hear ya.
I can be kind, loving, and balanced, and really, really rich.
Excellent. Now, this next wealth secret is imperative. What's the word?
Imperative.
It is so critical. Listen closely. How about instant enlightenment? Would you like to have instant enlightenment?
Yes.
Here it is. Rich and successful people are bigger than their problems. And most other people are there for what? Smaller than their problems. The secret to success, my friends, is not to try and avoid or get rid of your problems. It's to grow yourself so you are bigger than any of your problems. All right, I want to show you a chart that changed a lot of people's life. Would you like to see it?
Yes.
So here you are. There's the size of you, and there's the size of your problems. And let's say we're on a scale here, and it goes from 1 to 10. So, here we are, and we have a level 5 problem. What level is that, please?
5.
But you happen to be a level 2 person. Question, is that a big problem or a little problem?
Big.
That's a big problem to you, isn't it? But let's say you grow yourself, you work on yourself, you grow yourself, and grow yourself to be, say, a level 8 person. Same problem, big problem, little problem.
Little.
That same problem turned into a little problem, unless you continue to grow yourself and you become a level 10 person. Big problem, little problem. No problem. It doesn't even register in your mind as a problem at all. You just see it as another thing to do. Raise your hand if you understand what I'm talking about here. Excellent. Meaning it's never about the size of your problems. It's always about the size of you. This is where your blueprint comes in the size of your container. See, you are like a container. And what happens if you happen to be a small container and big money comes your way? Let's take a look. So here you are. You're a small container, and big money comes your way. Lots of money comes your way. You've hit the jackpot, except for one thing. Here you are, and no matter how much money comes, you can barely fit anything into who you are. But let's say you grow yourself to be a much bigger person. Yes?
Yes.
You are a big container here, and big money comes your way. What happens? You can accept it all. You can deserve it all. You can own it all, and mostly you can keep it all. Because as we said earlier, if you're a small container, when big money comes your way, what's going to happen? It just overflows and it has to go somewhere else. Is this making sense at all?
Yes.
Thank you. So it's never about the size of the problem, it's always about the size of you. It's not about the size of the money, it's about the size of you. Can you attract it? Can you hold it? Can you keep it? And that's about how big are you. Now here's the cool thing. As long as you keep on growing yourself, you are growing your container. Say, I'm growing my container.
I'm growing my container.
Here's the cool thing. The universe abhors a vacuum and will rush in to fill any space that's created for it. So the bigger you grow, the more money will have to come in if that's your intention. Yes or yes?
Yes.
All right, good job. That's why you have to keep learning and keep growing yourself. There's a universal principle that says this. At all points in time, you are either growing or you are dying. Repeat that with me, please. At all points in time, you are either growing or dying. Raise your hand if you have a plant or flower at home. Thank you. If your plant or flower isn't growing, tell me, what's it doing?
Dying.
It's automatically dying. Same with us. This includes those who are already wealthy as well as those who have already retired. You have to keep going. You have to keep growing. You can't coast. So here's another important wealth step. Continue learning. Rich and successful people are willing to learn and grow. Unsuccessful people think they already know. You know what? Eric Hoffer, he said something brilliant. Would you like to know what he said?
Yes.
He said, the learners shall inherit the earth, while the learned will be beautifully equipped for a world that no longer exists. Success leaves clues. So go to your public library, read books, attend classes and seminars, listen to CD programs, and of course, watch and support public television. Whether it's sports or business or money or personal development, you have to train yourself to succeed. True?
True.
And what that means is you can learn to succeed at anything, including money, including business, including any form of success that you choose. And no matter what your age or situation, you can learn your way to greater success. Are you ready for a new declaration?
Yes.
Here it goes. I am bigger than any problem.
I am bigger than any problem.
I can handle any problem.
I can handle any problem.
I can grow myself and learn my way to success.
I can grow myself and learn my way to success.
What is it that usually prevents us from taking the action we even know we need to be taking? What's the word, please? One more time, please.
Fear.
Fear. And how many people agree that fear and doubt and worry are among our greatest obstacles, not only to success, but to happiness as well? And therefore, one of the biggest differences between rich people and poor people and middle-class people is that rich and successful people are willing to act in spite of fear, and most other people let fear stop them. And one of the biggest mistakes most people make is waiting for the feeling of fear to subside and go away before they are willing to act. And these people usually wait forever. You know, in our program, we teach that the secret is to tame the cobra of fear. What's the key word? Tame it. It doesn't say kill the cobra. It doesn't say run away from the cobra. It doesn't say get rid of the cobra. It says what? Tame the cobra of fear. Listen closely. This can change your life. It is not necessary to try and get rid of fear in order to succeed. Rich and successful people have fear. Rich and successful people have doubts. Rich and successful people have worries. They just don't let those feelings stop them. Unsuccessful people have exactly the same feelings, but they let those feelings stop them. How many of you would agree that we are creatures of habit? And therefore the secret, the what?
The secret.
The secret is to practice. Practice acting in spite of fear. Practice acting in spite of uncertainty. Practice acting in spite of inconvenience. Practice acting in spite of discomfort. So here are some more critical wealth steps. Are you ready?
Yes.
First, stop letting fear rule your life. Whenever you feel fear, say to your mind the 4 magic words, and they are this: thank you for sharing, and then take the necessary action. Yes?
Yes.
Next, let's get a little more specific. Are you ready to change your life right now?
Yes.
Are you ready to change your life right now?
Yes.
How many of you have something going on in your life where you're considering doing something, but there's a little bit of uncertainty around it? Come on, be honest. All right. I'm going to give you 2 words right now that will make this entire program worthwhile. Are you ready?
Yes.
Do it. Do it. Just do it. Let me say this right now. One of my sayings is that 1 step in the right direction is worth 100 years of thinking about it. It's simple. Rich people do what broke people only think about. Repeat that with me. Rich people do what broke people only think about. Isn't that true? Next wealth step. Get uncomfortable. You heard me right. Get uncomfortable. I said earlier, comfortable is the kiss of death to success. There's no growth in comfortable. To get to a new level of life, you have to be willing to get uncomfortable. Now here's the coolest thing. What happens when you get uncomfortable? What happens when you do things that are uncomfortable? Eventually, what happens? They become comfortable. So whenever you feel comfortable in any area of your life, I challenge you to do something new and get uncomfortable. All right, are you ready for your next declaration?
Yes.
Here we go. I act in spite of fear.
I act in spite of fear.
I act in spite of inconvenience.
I spite of inconvenience.
I act in spite of discomfort.
I act in spite of discomfort.
I act in spite of uncertainty.
I act in spite of uncertainty.
I act in spite of anything.
I act in spite of anything.
So let's review. Your money blueprint will determine your financial success. You can change your money blueprint. One of the ways to change your money blueprint is to adopt wealthy ways of thinking. They include taking full accountability for everything that happens in your life, especially your financial life. Playing the money game to win. I want you to commit to abundance instead of just survival and security. Commit to creating wealth, not just for yourself, but also to assist others. Admire, bless, and study rich and successful people. Always think in terms of both instead of either or. You know, you can have your cake and eat it too. Be bigger than your problems. Commit to continuous growth and continuous learning. And act in spite of fear. My friends, if you follow these steps, you will begin to transform your money blueprint and reset your financial thermostat for natural and automatic success. The fact is, our world is nothing more than a reflection of the people who make it up. And as each of you individually raises your consciousness, the world raises its consciousness, moving from fear to courage, from anger to love, and from scarcity to prosperity for all. It's therefore up to you to enlighten yourself so that you can add more light to the world. And one of the best ways I know to do that is to get really, really rich. I'm T. Harv Ekър, and it's been a total blessing to be with you. And as always, remember, you have a millionaire mind.